Today we're going to compare the Tamron 17-70 and the Sony 16-55G to see how well they stack up against each other in both photos and videos. Hey, if you don't know me, my name's Jake and I create content here on YouTube to help solo creators on the go. People like me who are out on the go creating small commercial projects or stuff for here on YouTube. So I test and review equipment here in Alaska, and I do tips and tutorials on how to use that equipment so you can tell better stories and make smart decisions when you go to buy a new piece of gear. Quick disclosure, Tamron did send this lens to me, but I'm not keeping it. They don't have any say in this review. They're not paying me or anything like that. It's just my opinion. They sent it to me, asked me to test it, and give you my honest opinion about it. Today I've come up to Hatcher's Pass, or Independence Mine in Alaska, because it has a lot of really cool old buildings, which gives great, fantastic, fine detail to compare these two lenses against each other and see exactly how they stack up to each other. One thing that a lot of people have talked about, myself included, is that the Tamron is a little soft at 70 millimeters, but I want you to see exactly how soft, because it's not as bad as I think a lot of people fear or a lot of people think. It really is a fantastic lens, but if you're gonna go for either a $1,400 lens or an $800 lens that's basically one lens to put on your APS-C body and that's all you're gonna film with, I really wanna help you make the best decision you can. So let's start taking some pictures. Location one, we're gonna take pictures of all of these old buildings in the mountains. This is a great spot because you get lots of fine detail up in the mountains on the rocks and the snow, and all these buildings have a lot of really fine detail in the wood, so you can zoom into the corners and really see how well these lenses perform at all the extremes. A6400, Tamron 17-70, Sony 16-55 G lens, and some very important hot packs to keep the batteries warm because it is cold today. And the sun's out, yay! That's nice that the light is changing super quick, makes it easy to get real consistent shots between everything. The great thing about filming in Alaska in the winter is it's basically always golden hour when the sun is up. We're gonna shoot this building here sideways. Lots of good horizontal lines. It'll give you a really good idea of how much distortion there is or is not in both of these lenses. I mean, distortion, I don't think it's that big a deal anymore because it's so easy to fix in post, but I'm sure people want to know, so here we go. So on the photo end, both of these lenses take great photos. I do find that the Sony has a little bit more of a blue cast, whereas the Tamron kind of shies away from that. I found that I kind of prefer the color of the Tamron over the Sony lens just a little bit, but that's, I think, probably more personal taste than anything. It is really nice to have that extra 15 millimeters reach when you're using the Tamron. Even though it's a tiny bit softer, and I do mean a tiny bit softer at 70 millimeters, it's not that big a deal. I feel like the Tamron, having that extra 15 millimeters really makes a big difference when you're out shooting stuff like this and you want to be able to just punch in a little further without losing any resolution. When it comes to the close focusing distance, both of these lenses do a fairly decent job, but the Sony, you have to be a little over 12 inches away, whereas the Tamron, you can get to about 7.5 inches away and still get good sharp autofocus. It's kind of nice if you're going to be walking around and you want to take close-ups of things like flowers or interesting things that you find if you're walking down a beach or something like that, or in my case, snowflakes, icicles. I'm not really sure. Everything up here is frozen, so there's not a lot of stuff to take really close photos of, but you could do a lot closer photos with the Tamron than you can with the Sony. Another big difference between the Sony and the Tamron is if you're going to do any sort of handheld vlogging or walking and talking, things like this, where you're wanting to be able to shoot with the camera, but you don't have a camera with in-body image stabilization, and the Sony lens doesn't have in-body image stabilization. As you can see here, now that we're on the Tamron, the lens stabilization makes a huge difference when you're handheld walking and talking or shooting. If you're gonna shoot photos with the handheld stabilization, and remember, I'm shooting this on an A6400, so there's no in-body image stabilization. All you're seeing is the lens stabilization built into the Tamron, which makes a big difference. I found that I can shoot as low as a fifth, and sometimes if I haven't drank too much coffee and it's not freezing cold and I'm not shivering, I can shoot as low as a third of a second shutter speed with the Tamron, where I can't shoot anything closer than maybe, I don't know, 1/15 of a second, 1/8 of a second with the Sony. So that gives you quite a bit more light. Or if you want to stop the motion of water, like this waterfall shot here, it gives you quite a bit more options for how you want to compose and how you want to shoot a photo. But the big difference for this is going to be video shooters, because you're able to hold this with your hands and be able to talk to the camera without getting really unstable footage. Another big difference, if you're considering these two lenses, is that the price. This is $500 more than the Tamron, at least at the time of launch. This is, I think it's $1,300 right now because it's on sale for $100 off. For comparison of size, the Tamron is about maybe a centimeter longer than the Sony, and it is 70 to maybe 80 grams heavier. It's not a huge difference comparing these two weight-wise or size-wise. If you're going to just have one lens that you're sticking on your camera, it's the amount of space it's going to take up in your bag compared to the Sony is almost negligible. One more thing to consider on both these lenses is the Sony does have the autofocus manual focus switch and a customizable button on the lens, whereas the Tamron doesn't have anything you can customize on it. It's just the focus ring and the zoom ring. Both of them feel like they have really great focus rings and zoom rings. They feel both move well, they're well dampened, but also the Tamron is the opposite, like all of the other Tamron lenses that they've been releasing. Both of these lenses are weather sealed and will be able to handle a fair amount of bad weather you put them through. All of my Tamron lenses that I've used lately have been fantastic for the last 2 years in all kinds of pretty dang harsh conditions. Tamron has hit it out of the park with this APS-C lens. It is fantastic. It's going to be a great lens for anybody shooting Sony APS-C cameras. I just can't say enough good stuff about it. It's a great lens. You can download the photos, or at least some of them that I took in this, and maybe some of the video clips in a link through the description. If you want to buy it and you want to help this channel, you can buy it through the affiliate link in the description. It's no cost to you, but it definitely helps me be able to do stuff like this and stay warm while doing it. If you're interested in other fantastic budget lenses for Sony full frame or APS-C cameras, I put together this playlist right here. Click or tap there. I'll see you in one of those videos. As always, if you have questions, ask me in the comments below, or join my live stream Wednesday nights at 4 p.m. Alaska time, 8 p.m. Eastern. I'll see you again soon in the next video. Cheers.